Hello everyone and welcome to my review of the Netflix film The Ritual. This movie made it into a couple of theaters, very limited theatrical run, and now it's found its home on Netflix for you guys all to see. So let's go ahead and review this film. So guys, The Ritual is a horror film that is undoubtedly going to draw comparisons with the Blair Witch Project. And that's because a lot of what The Ritual goes for, thematically, stylistically, has a lot of, similarities with the Blair Witch Project. It's not a found footage horror film like Blair Witch was, but it is about a group of friends that go into the woods and get lost. And I think at this point, any movie that's about a group of friends who go into the woods, get lost, and has like a supernatural element to it is going to draw comparisons to Blair Witch Project because it is just such a famous film. That said, I would say personally, except for that element of the film, The Ritual is a very different film from Blair Witch Project. Is it better than the Blair Witch Project? It's hard to really draw comparisons between these two films, but for me, I would say Blair Witch Project overall is a better film. That said, The Ritual is a good movie. Let's start by talking about the performances in this film. The performances in this movie are all across the board really good. The movie is headlined by the four main actors that are playing the friends who get lost in the woods. And what I loved about this film is in the performances that they work really well with each other, despite what the scenario might be. When things are going well, you can see, the strong friendship that they have, and that, they're having a lot of fun on this trip that they're going on through the woods, because it is like a fun trip, originally planned as a fun trip for them. But when things do begin to grow awry, you kind of feel that sense of paranoia amongst themselves, and kind of similar to Blair Witch in that regard, yes, that there's kind of this constant sense of paranoia amongst the friends, and things start to go bad, and there's a lot of confusion amongst the friends, and things come out from the past also in the friendship that occurred before. And overall, I would say that despite what might happen in the film, the actors all across the board not only gave really natural performances themselves, but made the relationships, the interpersonal relationships amongst themselves, also seem very natural and fitting according to each situation. Also, The Ritual, in terms of style, is a really slow burn kind of film, also in terms of pacing. It builds up a really good, creepy atmosphere and puts in a lot of dread and paranoia amongst the characters, and you're kind of trying to figure out what's happening, and there's this constant sense of danger and peril throughout the film that I really enjoyed. And it really works. It's really effective, and it makes you really want to know what's going to happen next in the movie. And in that way, it kind of is similar to the Blair Witch Project, where it's building up a lot of paranoia. But I think the third act of this film is where it differentiates itself from the Blair Witch Project, and unfortunately, it's in, I would say, sort of a bad way. In the third act of this film, we get a lot of answers to a lot of the questions that we had leading up to the third act. And for me personally, I felt like this movie explained or showed too much, or more than it necessarily needed to, because it completely ruins the suspense. By the time the credits roll at the end of this film, you feel like that kind of suspense has been taken out of the film. That said, they do something really cool in the third act that made me kind of glad that they did show some things in the film. And if you want, I'll tell you what that thing was at the end of my review after I give my grade. So for that reason, I was kind of glad that they showed some things. But overall, I felt like for this movie, they could have gone without showing and giving that many answers. I felt like the dread and paranoia that they were building up so slowly could have either come to a different, better ending or some sort of alternate ending, or they could have just kept it at that really high tension point without giving away many answers and given it an ending that hinted but didn't necessarily show the thing that this movie has been building up to. So for me, The Ritual was a fun movie. It's a good movie. It builds up a lot of creepiness. There's a lot of effective scares in the movie, despite some logical loopholes that I'll get into after I give my grade as well. But in general, it's a fun movie. It's a lot of creepy atmosphere throughout the film. The performances are good. There is an emotional side angle that they try to present in this movie that doesn't really come to fruition that much, but it does help kind of round out the characters. So overall, The Ritual is a good movie to watch. It's pretty short. I think it's only 90 minutes. The third act is a bit campy, and I wish it had gone in a different direction, and I'll kind of explain that more after I've given my grade in more spoiler detail. But overall, fun movie, good creepy atmosphere. I'm going to give this one a B. Nothing exceptional, I would say, but it is worth a watch. So guys, major spoiler warning. If you have not seen The Ritual, do not watch any part of this video from here on out, because I am going to be majorly spoiling The Ritual in this segment of the review. Because I felt like there was just this one little thing that I really wanted to get to in my, spoiler-free portion of the review, but I can't really talk about it without spoiling the movie. So if you have not seen The Ritual or are planning to see it, whatever, spoiler alert, here we go. So at the end of the film, this turns out to be a monster movie. So there are hints of this being a monster movie in the first two acts, but in the third act, we really get to see this entire creature. Let me just say the creature design is amazing in The Ritual. I mean, I don't know how they did it, how they translated some sort of concept art to make it look so good. The CG is great, and just the overall design of the creature in this film is truly amazing. But as I said kind of earlier in my review, I wish they hadn't shown the creature, because it felt like it sucked out that paranoia out of the film, where I felt like when they were just hinting at the creature, it was more, it built up more tension, and I wish they just ended it in a way where we're still hinting at a potential creature. That side, this is kind of two sides of the same coin, because the creature was so awesome and such a well-designed, good-looking creature, like really scary design, scary features, that, yeah, I wish that they hadn't shown the creature, but also the creature was amazing. So for me, I'd rather that they just keep it to a good movie and, build up that paranoia and keep it to the very end of the film, rather than show everything and answer a bunch of questions. And because at the end of this movie, you also get a lot of answers to some other questions that were laid out in the beginning two parts of the film, and about like the history of the creature and why it attacks and all that kind of stuff. They answer all of that, and it just felt a little bit bland. That said, if you're fine with having all the answers to all the questions set up in the first two parts of the film, and having an awesome creature feature in the third act, then yeah, I think you'll really enjoy The Ritual. But for me, where the direction the movie was going that I was enjoying more was when they were building up that paranoia, and just showing the monster and explaining all the background kind of ruined it for me. That said, I still suggest you check out The Ritual just for this creature, or at least check out the scenes with the creature on YouTube, because honestly, this is an awesome creature design, and I've read articles online really praising how the creature looks in this film, and I gotta agree, it's a really remarkable vision. So yeah, that's all guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.